Hi, this is Congressman Tom Cole. This is another one of our 4th District congressional chats. It's been a pretty busy week in Congress, and particularly busy for me. We've had difficulty in recent years moving appropriations bills just because of the gridlock, the partisanship, the polarization. But this time around, we're doing pretty well. Frankly, in December, the president, or actually November, signed 3 bills that we'd gotten done for the Appropriations Committee into law. They were all important pieces of legislation. This week, we've focused on 3 more, which have now passed the House and been sent over to the Senate. Those 3 bills were things like what's called CJS, which is Commerce, Justice, and Science. So things like the FBI, the Department of Justice, scientific entities like the National Weather Center. All these sorts of things are in that bill. It passed overwhelmingly bipartisan. A lot of very good things in there for the National Weather Center, an increase in their budget. I remember just a few months ago, people were telling me it was going to be wiped out. I told them, no, that's not going to happen while I'm here. And they not only were fully funded, they got a decent increase in what's our tight fiscal time. We also passed, I have to stop and think here what the other 2 were. Interior, that's a very important bill, particularly for Native American tribes. The Indian Health Service is in there. Tribal governance for Oklahoma, extra money to deal with the McGirt decision to provide additional resources for tribal law enforcement. We also work, by the way, in other bills, including the CJS bill, getting additional funding for federal law enforcement to help in things like prosecutions related to McGirt, more U.S. Marshals, boots on the ground sort of stuff. So those 2 bills went well. They also have what are called congressional projects in them, and our district did quite well in that regard. We're able to fund some water treatment plants and provide some assistance to local governments that are actually doing things. And then the 3rd bill was, DJS, Interior, Energy and Water. Not much more important in Oklahoma than energy and water. But beyond regulatory change, that's where we maintain the nuclear stockpiles in the energy portion. All the nuclear energy for the U.S. Navy, the reactors, those type of things are all funded there. As a matter of fact, over half of the energy and water bill is actually military related, but we keep nuclear weapons always under civilian control, so we don't actually handle that in the Department of Defense budget. But again, lots of good things for Oklahoma. More importantly, these were done in an overwhelmingly bipartisan way, and they saved money. We managed to save about $2 billion. So we'll be spending less, but spending it better in all of these areas. Individual areas like Native American healthcare and what have you got increases, but overall the cost of the 3 bill is $2 billion less than last year. And again, we got broad bipartisan cooperation on it. As a matter of fact, I would tell you, if you have C-SPAN, go look at the debate, because you won't believe it's the Congress of the United States. It's all my good friend this, my good friend that. We're so happy to work together. It's like Congress was 20 years ago. But we've been very successful in that committee so far, keeping the partisanship in check and trying to just do what's best for the American people. We're also engaged in negotiations on 6 other bills, 3 of which we hope to bring up next week. One called State and Foreign Ops that actually funds the State Department, another called Financial Services and General Government. They do things like the IRS. And then a 3rd bill on Homeland Security, which is always contentious and controversial. But the negotiations have gone surprisingly well. So if things work out, we will do what's called posting the text, that is putting the bill online for people to review Sunday night, and then we would vote on it late in the week of next week. And then we would move into the next 3 bills. If we get those done, it'll be the first time in many, many years that Congress Didn't get the work done on time, but it got all 12 bills done, and didn't do what's called a continuing resolution. Each one was looked at, carefully examined. Overall spending will be down. These bills together will lower overall federal spending, but will increase defense spending, will increase border security spending, so it's within there. I'm not only pleased that we're lowering the total cost, it's the way we're reprioritizing things. When defense spending goes up and overall spending comes down, that means you move some domestic things to defense, and of course we're living in a very dangerous world. We'll save this for a future show, but obviously, while my focus has been on just trying to look after Oklahoma's interests and trying to move these products through, we've had everything from Venezuela to a saber rattling again by China in the Western Pacific, to the president's efforts on Ukraine, to oil markets. I mean, it's been a very busy time internationally, and there's lots of legislation and political statements being made about all that. But again, my focus has been pretty much 100% my job, which is try and make sure the government is funded, that we avoid a government shutdown, and that we use the resources the American people have given us in a good way. And finally, that we look after Oklahoma and we make sure the important federal facilities like Tinker Air Force Base, like Fort Sill Army Post, like the National Weather Center, like Kerr Water Labs in Ada, like the Indian Hospital in Lawton, that these sorts of things, like the University of Oklahoma, which does enormous amount of federal work and research, and where the National Weather Center is located, that all those things are appropriately funded and frankly contribute not just to the national economy or the national defense, but contribute very much to the progress of Oklahoma. Thousands of our fellow Oklahomans work at those facilities, and believe me, their fate is something I think about every day, because they do important work for the nation. They're an important part of our economy, and it's an area where in appropriations we can have a lot to make life better for them and move them in the right direction, or we can make life difficult by doing things like government shutdowns. Never, ever a good idea. And then we're racing to make sure that does not happen to the country again. With that, I hope you are recovering nicely from the holiday season. I hope all your football teams won. I know they didn't, because mine, the University of Oklahoma, did not, but hey, we made it into the playoff system. That's a lot better than we thought we would do at the beginning of the season. Very proud of that team. Very proud of our basketball teams at OU, both men and women's, are performing at a very high level. Who couldn't be happy about the Thunder? 31-7 right now, and off to an unbelievable start. So let's just hope those things continue, and looking forward very much to women's softball as well. So and the OU men's baseball team looking a little sharper this year. So with that, again, take care. Hope your family is well. I'll look forward to visiting with you next week.